Hi and welcome to Moor History, where we discuss anything dark and macabre from our dark past. Even though this iceberg will be maybe not only history, it's the ultimate unsolved mysteries iceberg. It's a very, very, very long iceberg with so many entries. I do have to cherry pick a little, and it will be many parts to get through them all. Now we'll go through the very top of the iceberg.
Morbid history.
Number 1. Would you, could you on a train? This was a very eerie and terrifying message that got broadcast on live TV 2 days before a catastrophic train accident, the Hoboken train crash, which demised one person and 114 people were injured. The harrowing and scary message even warned of hazardous materials. So, the TV station blamed it all on an error. What kind of error does that? Some say it was a hack, a prank. Either way, it's just super duper weird that it coincided with an actual catastrophic train crash. So that all makes it indeed very mysterious and weird. Number 2 on our little iceberg, the Oumuamua. Oh gosh, I can't pronounce this, but I'll try. Oumuamua. The Oumuamua's origin. This is the first interstellar object flying out, passing through our solar system. Tumbled along instead of spinning, around 100 to 1,000 kilometers wide, and we just have no idea where it came from or what the heck it even is. Just that it's not from our solar system, hence interstellar. So yeah, origin and even age, unknown. The theories range from it being a part of a rogue planet, or even, of course, alien spacecraft. Why not? What's a good mystery without some alien spacecraft or aliens at all, for that matter? Next one, Albert Johnson. We don't know if that was his real name, though. But who was he? Well, they called him the Mad Trapper. In 1931, he would be roaming around, just messing around with people's hunting traps, for some reason. When the law came knocking on his door to ask him what the heck he was doing, he took the tough road. He started shooting, and they had a little shootout, and he shot an officer, and he ran off. And a little police hunt ensued. He climbed some mountains. He just ran around in the forest, parkouring there. Something about mountains at least. He was hard to track down. But after a month of doing that, the police finally tracked him down, and he was sadly taken to the Valley of Demise by high-velocity lead poisoning, courtesy to one of the police officers. And the mystery here is that we don't know who he was, why he was doing all this, and we will probably never know. Maybe he just was extremely eccentric and did not like hunting traps. Indeed. Then we have one that many have probably heard of. Miss Amelia Earhart. Amelia Earhart. Yes. Either way, she was one of the greatest aviators of her time, and she had broken many records with her flying about skills. So, when she went off to be the first female aviator to navigate around the world in the year of 1937, No one was very surprised, of course, because that's what she did. But to everyone's shock, she just disappeared.
Only a short time ago, Amelia Earhart checked over every detail of her $80,000 flying laboratory in preparation for her round-the-world flight. This was to have been her greatest achievement, a sky dash of 28,000 miles, a flight which was to have marked her retirement to aeronautical research. Then to a waiting world came news of disaster, as the plane failed to reach tiny Howland Island in mid-Pacific.
And she is still to this day not found. There are many theories though as to what could have happened. Some think that she washed up on a deserted island and lived there until eventual demise. Some think that she was taken in by Japanese and became a prisoner there. Someone found a picture that they believe looked a lot like Amelia, but to this day, this mystery is unsolved. Next one. The Axeman of New Orleans. Between May in 1918 and October 1919, a man who used an axe to become a serial life subscription canceller of other people's life subscriptions roamed about, causing concern, to put it lightly. He claimed 6 victims during this time, and there was no robbery, and his weapon of choice was any axe that he could find in the victims' homes. The strangest part of this whole thing, except of course we don't know who the man was even today, so that's a mystery, but he also announced in the newspapers there in New Orleans, local newspaper, that he was gonna go on a little demise spree soon, and anyone who played jazz would be spared. This caused a jazz mania during the night that he had promised to go out and search for houses that did not play jazz. Everyone played jazz and no one succumbed that night. He just vanished into thin air as fast as he randomly popped up to cause mayhem. Still to this day, this jazz-loving axe wielder is unidentified. People just be doing the randomest things. Next one. Balls of lightning. This is an unexplained phenomena in which a spherical ball, illuminated ball, described as lightning, because it would usually show up during thunderstorms, just that it shooted its way into someone's home where it moved about erratically, causing damage to furniture or sometimes just passing through furniture until it faded away or disappeared with a big bang, leaving like a smell of sulfur behind it. There's many accounts of people seeing such things, but it's still extremely unexplained.
Bruh.
Yeah, properly and thoroughly unexplained. A short and sweet one. Baltic Sea anomaly. In the bottom of the Baltic Sea, there has been found a weird structure, and many people have decided that this structure is a spaceship who has sunken there, crashed and sunk, and it's placed at the bottom of the sea. Please have a little look and let me know down below what you think of that. Is it aliens? Next, Beast of Bodmin Moor. This is not one beast. This is British folklore and urban legend that states that many people have seen large cats, like a puma or a leopard, walking about where they absolutely should not be walking about, because this is the UK. But many people have asserted that they indeed have seen these large cats roaming about. Even a farmer once, way back when, he lost during one night 100 sheep with throat injuries, and he blamed that on one of these beasts. Well, could it be like someone having an exotic pet that they're not allowed to have, that they just leave out in the forest? That's a thing that actually happens sometimes. That could explain it sometimes. Some of the accounts were later proven to just be a very large domestic cat that someone got scared of, and yeah. So, half unexplained, but still a mystery. Then, moving on to D.B. Cooper. In 1971, this dapperly dressed man got on a plane. There he informed the flight attendants that he indeed was carrying a bomb and that they had to give him $200,000 in ransom, and also fly to Seattle and land to get the ransom money, I'm guessing, and also to give him 4 parachutes. So they did that. When they landed in Seattle, all the passengers they could leave, but the flight crew were still on the plane, and he said, wow, now I have my cash and I have my parachutes, and now you have to fly for Mexico. Where, well, of course, that's it. Leave me in Mexico and I'll just run off. But no, that was not the plan. Instead, when they were flying over Washington, he took on his parachute and took his cash and just jumped out of the airplane in the middle of flight. And of course, he was never found, and who he was has never been concluded at all. It's a mystery. Yep. At some point, they did find a few pieces of the cash floating around somewhere or in a forest. I don't really remember, but yeah, it is thought that he did not survive the jump. But still, who the heck this man was, we still have no idea. 0 clue. Next one. The demise of Edgar Allan Poe. In Baltimore, 1849, Edgar was found lying in a gutter, delirious, making no sense, wearing second-hand clothing, super shabby and dirty. The thing was that he wasn't even supposed to be there. He was on his way to Philadelphia. So, yeah, that's mystery number 1. How did he end up there? Either way, he succumbed 4 days later, never regaining any, consciousness or at least lucidity to tell anyone what had taken him to that point, what had happened. These were not your plans, Edgar, being here in a ditch or a gutter. While researching this particular case, I actually found one theory which I think makes a lot of sense. That Edgar was a victim to a thing called coping. It was a method of voting fraud. Some gangs would take people that they found, dress them up in different clothing, like to disguise them and get them hecking very drunk and make them vote for some candidate over and over many times. The fact that he was found in clothing that wasn't his dirty and in a very delirious or maybe intoxicated state, well, many things could point to that. I mean, he was found on election day. So, there's that. I think it's a reasonable explanation, even though scholars and historians or detectives have not come to a grand conclusion as of yet. Hey, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, it's free for you, helps me a great deal. You can always go ahead and unsubscribe later if you just hate anything that I post. And I promise, it doesn't hurt. Let's continue. Hi again, yes indeed, it's a new day now, because we are having this thunder and lightning period in Sweden at the moment, you know, when the cold weather hits the warm weather and they go bang, 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 and I couldn't continue recording, so let's continue today. So, next entry, angel hair. There have been reports of a white, sticky substance flying through the air as way back as 1917. It's said to resemble very fine hair, thus the moniker angel hair. Theories surrounding this flying wig have been many, all from, of course, aliens, UFOs, or a manifestation of the Virgin Mary. Some religion. Of course, we're gonna have to shove some of that in there. The most likely explanation is that it's actually migrating spiders. Yeah, flying spiders en masse. They like puff up their bodies in somehow and then sprout out spider webs and fly through the air. And it can look a bit freaky. So, the marvels of nature. Next one is a bit quirky. The mysterious soda machine of Capitol Hill. Yeah, it was up and doing its duty from late 90s all up until 2018 when it was unceremoniously removed. People working around there had no idea and had never seen anyone stock the mysterious machine. But what made it so mysterious beyond that? Well, it only had buttons that said mystery, so you could only buy mysteries. It was an old Coca-Cola unit though, but what you got out of it was discontinued soda, unusual flavors, and yeah, fun times all around until someone went and moved it. In its place, once it was moved, someone had taped up a piece of paper that said, "Going on a walk." And that was a long walk, because it has still not returned. A fun little mystery for us. We all need those sometimes too. This entry, the Black Dahlia. In 1947, a young woman named Elizabeth Short went missing, only to be found a few days later, just dumped in some grassy area, facing upwards with her middle part completely halved. This part was not connected anymore to that part. She was also drained of all her red bodily fluid, and that made her look scarishly, freakishly white, of course. And the most famous part was that the perpetrator here had given her a Cheshire grin, which meant that they had cut her from here to here, making it seem like she was smiling a very creepy giant smile. It was quickly concluded that she had not been tormented into this state at the place where she was found. That had happened somewhere else, and then someone dumped her there in this extremely
disrespectful
way to be found. And sadly, the case, as famous as it got, is still unsolved to this day. The Black-Eyed Children, an American urban legend consisting of children between 6 or 16 with completely blacked out eyes and very pale skin. They would be seen roaming around, begging, or hitching a ride, or sometimes just knocking on your front door, creeping the hell out of anyone there. They don't seem to have been like evil entities, a piece of modern folklore. Yeah, they seem to just show up, ask for some kind of help, and then leave, leaving you traumatized. That's the word. Lovely. And then, something I've talked about a lot on this channel already, but in short, the dancing plague of 1518. In a small tiny village in what is today France, a woman went out and started busting out some moves. People were enthralled, and after a little while, a lot of people joined in on the dancing. Problem was that they just couldn't seem to stop. Around 400 people would end up just dancing uncontrollably. Some of them to their life's cancellation. They just couldn't keep up. Their bodies gave up. Scientists today try to explain it as maybe they had gotten some food poisoning, like the fun fungus, ergot, in the bread, which could cause spasm and some kind of LSD-like hysteria. And yeah, that is that next one, that it was just a case of mass hysteria. It's a mystery, that's why it's on this list, of course. There's also tales that some of them got cured from just visiting a church and getting blessed. So, religion to the rescue there. Still unexplained, still a mystery. Why did all these people do that? We'll probably never know. Then we have ghost camels of southwest USA. In the middle of the 1800s, around 70 camels were whisked into the southwest of America, the US, I mean, of course. And why? Well, they were sturdy creatures who endured warm desert weather, and they were also known to be able to carry a lot of stuff. Heavy stuff. Seemed perfect, of course. They became pretty unpopular though, because they were quite aggressive. They would scare people's horses, and they were prone to just roam away during the night into the desert. So when the Civil War broke out, the soldiers basically threw them off into the desert to fend for themselves. So, years later, of course, sightings of these camels would be popping up then and now, especially around Arizona area there. One woman was even found trampled to demise, and close to her and on her they could find some red fur. So they named the culprit the Red Ghost. The Red Ghost Camel. And now, of course, it's been a long time, and all these original camels that were left to fend for themselves have clearly already dearly departed into the farm, upstairs, living life, I hope. But it has not stopped the legends to thrive. People still to this day claim that they can see this red ghost camel walking about with a headless rider on his back. Quite a nice little urban legend. Thumbs up from me. You go, red ghost camel. And your headless rider friend. Gloria Ramirez. In 1994, Miss Gloria was taken into the emergency. She was suffering from cancer. So yeah, she was there to get treatment pronto. Problem was that when they started working on her, the hospital workers soon realized that her skin had started developing this oily sheen. And she started smelling of fruity garlic, and her blood smelled of ammonia. And not short after that, the workers there started to have severe reactions. 3 of them just fainted then and there, while some others were experiencing breathing difficulties and muscle spasms. Not a good thing. What happened here? It was so bad that even one of them had to stay at an intensive unit for 2 weeks. Sadly, Gloria also dearly departed quite quickly after the whole incident. The first reaction from many was that they just brushed this off as some kind of mass hysteria. One person started fainting, the rest started fainting, and then they just started spasming, I guess. Not a very good conclusion to come to. I'll have to read this from my paper because I can't pronounce it, but some others claimed that she had been self-administrating dimethyl sulfoxide, which then somehow had converted into a very toxic agent in the room, which then was airborne and affected everyone in the room in a rapid fashion. But still, to this day, we don't have a conclusive answer to what actually happened. So, a mystery. Green boots. That's an entry about an unidentified Everest explorer who sadly succumbed, and he was wearing vibrant green boots. The first sighting of him was in 1996. And ever since then, and 20 years forward, his remains would be a landmark for anyone trying the dangerous trip up Mount Everest. They would use him as like, oh, there's green boots, now we know where we are and how long we have to go. He stayed there until 2014 when he was moved. And his identity is still unsolved and a mystery. And now the last one for this part, because otherwise it would take forever. Like, this iceberg is long. But the last entry here is the Hatman phenomena. Anyone who's experienced sleep paralysis might have seen a dark silhouette of a man staring at you wearing a fancy little hat. Some of you may not, but it has been shown through studies that a lot of people have, and we have been doing that for centuries. It's always this scary man with a hat. Sometimes he sits on the chest of the person, and of course making them unable to move. Regular old sleep paralysis there, but yeah, the mystery there is just that. Why this man? Why this fancy gentleman? For so many people for hundreds of years. That's something we haven't figured out. I've never met this Hatman. I have sleep paralysis, but I only have auditory hallucinations when I do. I sometimes hear like shattering, like old-time radio people just talking in my ear, or someone running outside my door and trying to open my door, stuff like that. I've never actually seen anything. Maybe the Hatman will come to me too someday. If not, do you know the Hatman? Send them a little hello from Pilvi. He can't be that bad, you know, if he actually dresses up for his little rendezvous. Either way, that's all for this part 1 of Tier 1. There will be a part 2 of only Tier 1, because it's absurd. This iceberg has a gazillion entries. I guess I'll get through, and it will take some time. So subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and giant thanks to my lovely Patreons. You're my heroes. If you want to support the channel, find links down below for my Patreon and Ko-fi if you want to leave a tip. And also I have a shop where I make some handmade crafts. So yeah, like and subscribe and comment down below. Stay amazing, stay hydrated, but most of all, stay morbid. Bye bye!